good afternoon, good morning, or even good evening if you are in Australia like David Stritt. Welcome back to the International IndyCar League here from EchoPark Speedway in Atlanta, Hampton, Georgia. For round number 12 of 13, the penultimate round in the International IndyCar League. Joining me, Julian Altena, is going to be Sebastian Kinder. I will also be on the board, so doing double duty. But Seb, good to see you, and it's nice to work with you again for a change. And Jack is on assignment doing something else, so that's why I'm taking up the spot. But hello to you, sir.
Yeah, hello Julian. Well, finally we have the dynamic duo. Like, it's been a while since we worked together. We never actually commentated together, so I'm looking forward to this.
And in fact, it was such a last-minute broadcast that I didn't even get the proper commentators graphic up. But I can confirm to you it is myself, Julian Altena, and Sebastian Kinder up here in the booth. As I mentioned, round 12, the penultimate round of the season. So we'll dive into the most important two topics of the race today, which is the remainder of the schedule. Of course, next week we go to Indianapolis to crown a champion. Although, as I say this, we might even crown one today. Here is the Drivers' Championship entering this round. It's Roden Eefting on top, with Matthias Strauss 28 points back. But Matthias is not here. At least I didn't see him in the lineup yet today. So it's going to be an interesting one. It depends on where Roden finishes. If he wins the race, I think he's going to basically secure the championship. I think David is going to be too far back, even if he finishes second, with drop weeks included. Again, this is a little bit unofficial due to the drop rounds being in place, but that is the picture as I have it at the moment. So this might be the day where we crown a champion for season 29 in the International IndyCar League. We'll dive into the upcoming schedule here for the broadcast as well, to get that out of the way, and then we get into the rest of the event. Of course, the upcoming broadcast schedule next week: Richmond VOR at around the 3/4 of a mile D-shaped oval, 8 p.m. Central European time. Then the International IndyCar League finale at 2:30 p.m. at Indianapolis, as mentioned. Then we got 2 weeks back-to-back of Indy Next action at 8 p.m. as well, and then the penultimate round of VOR on the 4th of April at Sebring. So that's the upcoming broadcast schedule. Qualifications underway at the moment, and it looks like most people have already set their qualifying attempts. So we'll get cars on track here and follow the rest of the action. Here is David Stritt, second in the championship at the moment. He's gonna look to get a good result to win the race first of all, and keep himself in the picture, sort of, which is gonna be a tall task with just this race and next week's Indy 250 to go.
We see this track is pretty much okay. So it's a mini Daytona. It's like the same banking, the same width as Daytona, but on a 1.5 mile oval. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be full flat out in the race, especially when you're in the dirty air. Maybe a bit of lifting, because at Daytona sometimes we had to lift when we were there in VOR. So I'm looking forward, like 8 drivers, so they're all going to be stacked up in a pack. Although if there's a wreck, yeah, everyone is taken in it. So this will be interesting.
Gonna be interesting for sure. Yeah, we've not really raced too often around here. I do know the Lionheart IndyCar Series used to run a race here in the dark days of 2023 without a broadcast, and that race was highly entertaining from what we were able to see on social media and Discord, at least. There was no official broadcast at the time. So this league as well, by the way, no stranger to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, or EchoPark Speedway as it's officially known now. They've run here multiple times in the past, both on the old scan as well as the new one. So we'll be in for an interesting pack race, as you mentioned, similar to Daytona and Talladega, but on a much smaller track. But it's time for the starting grid here for the Atlanta 190 as we get set for the penultimate round of the season. So here is the starting lineup. It is going to be David Stritt on the pole position with a 23.099. Alongside him will be Roden Eefting, so the two championship contenders on the front row. Moving on to row number 2, it's Jason Lowe and Dan Ench. Both drivers very close together as well. And Jason hasn't had the best of seasons. He's been at the front for most of the races, but not able to string together the finishes as he would have hoped, either through mistakes or just simply being involved in accidents. of others. Moving on to the third row, Ryan Bowles and Rick Lovison. Both of those drivers very consistently in the top 10, top 5 even, and in some cases as well, just finishing races, and that's what they have been able to do to be in contention for a nice top 5 in the points championship as well down the line. Moving on to row number 4, Brad Stanley and Mike West, the steward, who has been having a very busy time here in this series this season with a few new drivers not really up to date on the rules. So hopefully for Mike today, he will have a much easier task at that. And that is actually the 8-car field here today. So very small field size. And the field is rolling on the pace lap. So with only 8 cars, I think the race is going to go by very quickly without many yellows.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Rodin, he won last week, so he'll have to start from the back of the grid.
Very good point, yes. So Rodin gonna start from the back. Winner, of course, at Michigan. If you have seen that in the bumper videos here in the beginning of the broadcast, as you were waiting for us to get on the air. So Rodin will fall to the end, and Dan Ench will take up his position on the outside groove. So field making their way into turns 3 and 4. Quick look at the weather conditions. It's pretty self-explanatory for this series. Very cool conditions at night. That's where they like to race. Nighttime is the right time for IndyCar and any open wheel racing on an oval. So David Stritt gonna lead us to green here in just a moment as the pace car is off. And we will get set and ready to go for 124 laps. David Stritt picks up the pace and we are racing at Atlanta. Dan Ench already slotting in behind Jason Lowe, who is running a new livery, at least this week.
Yeah, because I don't recognize it.
At least Trading Paints maybe hasn't loaded it properly. We'll do a quick Control R here in just a few moments. But yeah, field very slow off the line, just settling into a nice rhythm as David Stritt maintains the lead, but now falls back to second as Dan Ench goes to the lead.
Yeah, Dan just went steaming past. Oh. Yeah, 1.4 seconds if thinking is from Stanley. He's not out of the draft yet. I think he's barely hanging on, but like he must keep his pedal to the metal here.
Looks like the Trading Paints client is having a few problems, but we'll just gloss over that as Stritt back to second now. He's going to look to save fuel behind Dan Ench, who is having a very nice lead at the moment. Dan Ench, known for just going for it in the past couple of rounds, and it's bit him kind of in the butt. So hopefully for him today is going to be a different story as he looks to lead lap number 4 in the Alzheimer's Association Chevy.
That is insane that he got a half-second lead. I wasn't expecting a lead car getting so much of a gap, but it seems like Lowe and Bowles are getting back on him.
Let's take a ride on board here with David Stritt, of course one of the championship contenders. That the driver inputs here is a little bit back, but I think we can get a decent idea whether he's saving fuel or not.
Big thing from this is like you want me. I would say like I would love to be in second or third in this race, like just chilling, not full throttle, saving fuel. This will be very. I'm excited to see also the pit-ins as well, Julian, because I guess they have to do like NASCAR, pit-in free then, right?
Yes, it is a track-specific rule now as well. You can see the orange box there on the left. We just crossed it. We'll point this out during the pit cycles as well, but there's an orange box to the inside on the apron. You need to be left of that. If you cross over it with any of your 4 wheels, that will be a black flag penalty, a stop and hold of, I believe, 28 seconds from the top of my head. So you don't want to get that penalty. It will really set you back, especially at Atlanta. A track that is so fast and unforgiving as well. And at the moment, with only 7 cars on the lead lap, Rodin down 2 laps. I don't think this is going to trend into any yellow territory anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to be single file for like at least 100 laps, and then it'll be heating up in the last 15 laps. It's pretty much wait and see, save fuel, and rule number 1 today: do not lose the pack. Stay in the lead pack, and you'll be fine.
Speaking of staying in the pack, Rick Loveson is dropping back to a second or so behind David Strid. So he's got to be careful to not fall behind that draft envelope like you mentioned. You got to stay in it to save the fuel and be in contention for the win. But another thing I want to point out, Roden Evtink, as I mentioned, is down 2 laps. But he is in front of the field, which will allow Jason Lowe, Dan Ench to run in first and second and save a lot more fuel than they normally would if they ran up front without a lap car in front of them. So Roden at the moment, I think, is unintentionally helping the guys behind to save fuel and go longer in this race.
I think this is something we talked about during our first broadcast, actually, with Jack, is that when you're one of the lead cars in this kind of races, you love having a lap car being very fast in front of you, because you can say, hey, you know what, I'll let you lead the pack and I'm going to save fuel, and meanwhile you don't lose a lap. It's a business, this transaction, and it seems like this was Ench and the rest of the pack are doing. This is very clever. Very smooth track. Oh. Kind of like wiggling for Dan Ench. The track is smooth, but it's still like the 22-23 scan of the racetrack. In real life, it's starting now to degrade a bit, and this is why we're having not as Low was looking to the outside there, and Ench closes the door.
Let's see what Dan is gonna do. He's gonna pop to the outside, trying to get a run on Rodin. He's gonna look to go to the front. Not sure why you would do that if you can maintain the lead just running a second in line behind the lap car, that is. So still leading the race, but not first on the racetrack, as Jason is really gonna size Dan up here, it looks like.
I don't understand why Dan just went and tried to go around the outside of Rodin. Like, this is... He's not even in your race. He's just there to make you save fuel, that's all. Anyway.
It's okay, Dan. We've got the cameras on you. We know you're at the front.
Exactly. Again, what it is, it says Rodin is so fast. What it is in these Altona cars? Rocket fuel?
Yes, I've been asked this question by you and by Jack as well in previous rounds.
Yeah, every broadcast.
Yes.
This is the running gag.
I can confirm it is a series approved rocket fuel.
Well, Rodin's been pretty fast, and even still, Matthias not in there. I think he's pretty much has the title won now.
Yeah, the series uses a different points format to what we are used to in most leagues. So calculating the points is going to be a little bit trickier for us. Of course, we don't quite understand exactly how the point system is going to play out with a field size of only 8 cars, of course. So we'll have to wait for series officials to confirm the championship standings after the race. Hopefully we can get that done on the air at the conclusion of this race, but it is looking very likely that Rodin is going to clinch it today. Or at least put him in position where he only needs to show up next week and he's going to win it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's kind of likely that maybe Matthias didn't know that we changed times. Well, American changed times, and he didn't know like the race would be an hour later. Although he'll probably now be online, so I guess he couldn't make the race anyway. Lovison actually got closer now to David Strait, so that I would say that's more comfortable as a racer, Julian, when you're having like a pack in front of you and you're like a second and you're like, oh boy, like I don't really like the situation that much, and I need to get closer. I think you can relate to that.
So just a few moments ago, Jason Lowe got to the front and passed Dan Enge for the lead. We'll assume this is just a simple pass where Dan didn't really contest it that hard, but we'll take a look at the replay nonetheless, as Jason gets a big run off the corner.
That's a crazy run.
And Dan Enge does let him go.
Yeah, since we're pretty much flat out, I wonder how much the hybrid is going to play in this.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing you bring this up, Seb. For those of you watching and familiar with how the iRacing hybrid system works for the IndyCar, you have basically 0.1 to 1.0, so 0.1 or 1 through 10, depending on how you want to look at it. Deployment and regen rates. The regen rate in this series is 0.5, so half of the normal regeneration capacity you will use if you had the full amount available to you. The deploy, however, is still a full burst of 100% boost, so the setting set to 10. So that's going to be very interesting how the drivers save the battery, as Dan Enge is the first to blink on lap 25. We were expecting 27 laps to be the fuel stints, but Dan Enge... Go ahead.
He was ahead. He was ahead, so that's why he used more fuel. Oh, wait, hang on. There's someone else pitting. That's Lovison.
Yes, Lovison and Dan Enge on pit lane now. So they will be the first ones to pit. They will make this a 5-stop race, 5-stint race, 4 stops. And the leaders still circulating, not pitting yet. Let's see how far David Strait is able to go. Of course, he dropped right to the back of the line pretty much as soon as the green flag fell.
Lowe is spinning.
Yep, Jason Lowe is the next one to bite the dust, and he spins on the apron and the pit exit entry. No yellow yet, and that might be an unsafe pit entry as well for crossing the white line.
Oh, that's that is for sure a unsafe pit entry, and he's going to he'll have to serve that pit that penalty right now, I guess.
Let's take an onboard ride here with Jason. This is on the backstretch. And yeah, it just takes too much speed for the rear axle to handle. And he slides up into that kind of transition apron, which is also banked, but a little bit less than the racetrack itself. And very uncharacteristic mistake, I want to call it, early on in the race at least. And Jason Lowe is off and away again, so no penalty for him, it seems.
But the time he lost is humongous.
Yeah, catastrophic for his race, absolutely. Under green flag conditions, 100%. But rest of the field now as well on pit lane, as well as Roden Evening, who is still running 2 laps down, but he is on fuel strategy at least with the leaders. So if there is a yellow, he might get those laps back. But I want to see where Dan Enge is going to rejoin, as he is coming off of turn 2 here.
Yeah.
And
just ahead of Mike West, actually.
Watch the gap come down on the timing tower. 7 seconds out of turn 4. Leaders exiting the pits right now. There they are on the warm-up lane. We'll look from the back of Ryan Bowles here.
Oh! Strait nearly lost it on the exit.
And here is Dan running the high line, making it very clear where he is going to place his car. Remember, Bowles still getting up to speed, so the closing rates dangerously high as Dan Enge decides to lift and settle into second place.
And they are ahead, very well ahead of West and Strait. Probably these two can come back onto the lead pack, the lead 2. And for the rest of these guys, Lowe, Stanley, Lovison, they're in trouble.
And Lowe got by Brad Stanley there just a moment ago as well. Let's go to David Strait and see if we can catch an onboard from his pit exit. And we might need to go a little bit further back, and we actually just got it perfectly. Let's take a look. Oh, he gets 2 wheels on the racetrack, and that might even be a penalty if he's not careful.
Yeah, that can be a penalty. We'll have to watch out for that if he comes into the pits, because if it's not, then he's lucky.
Well, it depends on which line iRacing considers to be out of bounds, whether it's the first white line, or the red line even in the middle, or the outside white line. There's basically 3 lines separating the apron to the racetrack, so it will heavily depend on which one he crossed. I think he only crossed the first one, so he might be good if the first white line from the racetrack up on down is considered the boundary line itself. So if he was on that inside one, he should be good, which it does seem like is the case. So
yeah.
Lucky break for David, and he keeps his championship hopes alive, at least for now.
Yeah, that's like the first warning. Like that's the black and white flag. Just like, hey, watch it. You almost did something stupid. Very interesting to see Ant being the first one to pit, and he was on his zone at the exit of the pits, and he still managed to come out in the top 4. So that's very interesting to watch as.
Hello.
Technical difficulties?
There we are. We're back.
We got a scare. We're back. We're back online.
Yeah, apologies about that to everyone. Apparently it didn't like a button I pressed to follow a car, and it threw all kinds of shady things at me, so yeah, technical difficulties is an understatement.
Were you sure that you actually push the nuke option instead of the watch option?
Yeah, I pressed the self-destruct button. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you shouldn't have put that. We shouldn't have put that self-destruct button right next to the follow X car.
So going back to Jason Lowe, of course, made that mistake on the pit entry. He is now 6 seconds behind the top 4 who are on the lead lap as well, and in the lead pack. So 7 cars on the lead lap itself. Roden is still the only one a lap down, but if these guys are not swapping, I don't see them gaining the time back. So they need to consider swapping and working together. The question though is, does Jason want to do this, and does Brad know how to do it? I don't think I've seen Brad do this before, so this might be something that Jason is going to want to communicate to get himself back up there, because well, the interval at least is 5.7 seconds to David. He is 6.4 behind the leader, so that's a very big deficit to overcome in, well, 85 laps, but still, it's going to be hard to do on your own.
Yeah, and not only they're just 2, but I feel like Stanley's a bit too far from Lowe. I would say like the optimal, at least trying to get like the 2 tandem drafts, is like have your front wing right under the gearbox of the car in front. It's actually on the Aero 5, it's actually pretty easy to do, because the Aero 5 you can see pretty well where the front of the car is, and you can be like super close. We even tried bomb drafting in the Classic IndyCar Series, well, in practice for Fontana, and we tried once with Ethan Hagen, and I would say, no, never again. We're not doing this.
I remember pushing Jan Hofmann at Charlotte a few seasons ago. That was a fun time. I was having so much fun, I was yelling on the voice chat that I was having so much fun, and I got warning points for it.
Oh, wow.
Stanley by Lowe, so that this might be the cue for them to work together. So we'll see what kind of run Jason gets, and indeed he does pop to the inside. So those two seeing the light, and they're gonna try to catch the group ahead.
This is where I feel like having the hybrid makes it easier to swap drive, because when the other car gets in on your inside, you can just mash that regen button to slow down your car and make it easier for the other one to overtake you.
Alright, let's take a look at the gaps here. Get the right car here as well.
Huh.
So 5.9 seconds was the gap to the cars in front, and the gap is actually staying the same on the last time around. Let's see what it updates to this time. So 1.4 tenths of a second gain to the group in front. So they are slowly catching, but nowhere near the rate they need to be to make it to the front pack for the pit cycle.
And Low is actually dropping, so that's not good.
Interesting. Maybe he might be damaged from something we didn't see.
Could be. This car is very sensitive. I know firsthand how easy it is to damage the floor of this car, especially on the right side. I actually have a collection of bent floor from all my Indianapolis runs.
Jason Lowe does have the fastest lap in his hands, by the way, at 22.976. So the speed, at least 16 laps ago, was very much in the car.
Actually, it goes by so quick, Julian. We're nearly at the second round of pit stops.
Yeah, very good point as well. Last lap for Ryan Bowles out in front, 23.62. And Stanley, as we got Jason Lowe coming into the pits again. Let's see if he can make it through cleanly this time. Very much more careful this time around. You can clearly see that.
Oh, he did get a bit loose there.
There we go, he made it to the pit lane speed limit. But what I was gonna say is Lovison and Stanley and Lowe were gaining 2 tenths a lap there last time around, so they are gaining with swapping, just that they need to keep maximizing the runs they're getting. As Ryan Bowles started 5th, we saw a few moments ago on the progression graphic, currently running in the 1st position. Dan Enge inherited the outside front row position and hasn't really lost touch of it at all in the first 50 laps of the race. Mike West up to 3rd. Very good run from him. He started in P8 in the independent Honda entry, the 999. And David Stritt re-entering the mix as Jason Lowe rejoins the circuit.
And Dan Enge, I think, was dived into the pits. Interesting. 51. We'll see.
Yeah, he is doing the 25, 25, 25, 25, 25 split. So he's basically coming in every 25 laps, no matter where he's running. And that might not be that bad of a call. He's gonna pit by himself all the time, so that means if he has the confidence under the brakes, he can charge it in as hard as he likes without having any dirty air or having to worry about anybody hitting him in the rear.
Oh. Although that entry to the pit box wasn't really smooth there.
Yeah, so optimal, but I don't think he lost too much time. Maybe a few tenths as Ryan Bowles pulls to the inside now as well. You can clearly see the driver is clearly staying left to that orange box on the apron there. Let's see if Mike West is going to pit as Jason Lowe around the outside. Going to unlap himself.
Which is a good thing. Like, you don't want to have a caution and trap you, even if it's in the lucky dog position. You don't want to have a caution and just like, oh damn, I have to be lucky dog and start it back in the next restarts.
So Jason Lowe 1 lap down now. You lose 2 laps pitting on the green. So correction on that front. As Bowles now as well in the pits as we mentioned. So that just leaves Stritt and West out in front. Those two going the longest on both of the first rounds of pit stops as Mike West in the pits.
Yep. Easy does it.
100%, and he looks to keep it clean so far. Just make sure you don't get overconfident under the brakes. It's very easy to think, oh, my corner entry was very nice. I might just give it a little bit more throttle and then you spin out. It's happened to me a lot of times. But Mike luckily keeps it all on the black stuff. So good on him. And David Stritt now retakes the lead. And we've seen him fuel save all day long so far. He's going to look to shorten his final stop. To shoot him back to the front. We've seen him do this exact strategy at Daytona earlier in the season. And he came away with the win there, if I remember correctly. So David very much knowing what he needs to do around these types of tracks. As well as around Indianapolis. next week.
Oh, I'm starting to have ideas. If he can keep this fuel saving he has going on, can he at the final stop only tank fuel?
Hearing word there is an accident with Brad Stanley on the timing screen. He may have crashed. This is just a normal pit entry. He gets crossed up maybe? Tough to tell from limb angle. Maybe he just entered the pits a little bit too slow and iRacing registered it as a as an accident. As again, I'm pressing the go back to live pictures and iRacing just randomly does something stupidly. As we sort this technicality out here. Currently on lap 60 of
we'll be right back.
124, 59 of 124, excuse me.
We're back. As this is straight coming out of the pits, and he's still leading.
Yep.
This is very interesting, Julian.
Very good pit cycle by Straight. Of course, he was able to save the fuel. I doubt he will short fuel on this stint. I think he will want to save that advantage for later on in the race. So I think he just nailed the pit cycle and just shut up to the front. We'll get a replay. And we'll go a little bit further back.
He and Bowles really nailed this pit because they're 5 seconds ahead of everyone, including the guys that were there with them.
But this is right behind Jason Lowe. Of course, Jason pitted a few laps before, and look at David charging it in. Don't cross the white line. Oh, that's perfect. Making the absolute most of the grip levels available to him. And that pit entry, apart from the braking, I'm going to be nitpicky here. He could have braked maybe 15 meters later, but other than that, it was absolutely perfect. I think this was exactly the thing he needed to do to get out in front.
I mean, he nailed it, and that's... he only has one opponent left, and that opponent has more fuel to fill in for the last stop, so... Going on straight, and he'll do the same thing. He'll just stay behind Balls and say, hey, I'm going to save fuel behind you now. Nothing you can do against it.
Yep. And there's Jason Lowe working together with Mike West, two of the series admins. And on the last stint, the grand advantage that Jason Lowe made up to the front of the field, not counting Ench and Stanley, who have had some issues at the pit cycle. But the time Jason has gained is 1 second over 25 laps. So the swap with, I believe it was Lovison earlier, hasn't really worked. He was gaining 2/10 on some laps and then losing that again on others. Let's see how this stint is going to fare for him, as Ryan Bowles and David Straight trading the lead on the back straight now. And I think David is going to take the inside here, and he's decided he just wants to trade the lead and try to maintain the gap to the cars behind. So let's take a look around Ben Hench. What happened to him? And I'm not seeing anything.
Huh.
Did he blink out or have some other kind of issue? Let's take a look. So this is a replay, lap 58. So 9 laps ago.
Okay, so this is interesting. Does he have damage? Because he's in 4th gear, unless this is pit exits. This is weird because usually they're like in 5th gear, but like he's in 4th gear and.
Yeah, Dan Ench just blinked out. Very interesting. Maybe storms in the area for him, but suboptimal for sure.
Yeah, yeah, this is something we'll have to ask him, like what happened, because I feel like maybe there's some damage on that number 52, because if we look at the onboard, for example, of Strid or Balls, I think like they're in 5th gear, and seem to be stuck in 4th.
This might also be a case of gearing on the race setup, where they make 4th gear for clean air running, 5th gear for following one car, and then 6th gear for following multiple cars and drafting by. It might be a conscious decision by the series admins.
That's a good call, actually.
Alright, I think we're closing in on the next round of pit stops again. For a number of drivers at least. Certainly Jason Lowe.
Yeah.
Who is around 5-6 laps away from his next go into the pit lane.
Yeah, and I think I do agree with Amon Lol in the chat saying everyone was overcautious on the entry on the previous pit phase, because that's the only way I can explain how Balls and Strid are like now miles ahead of everyone.
Yeah, I don't see how that could be anything different other than just being overcautious. Of course, as we saw Jason Lowe do earlier in the race, it's very, very easy to just take too much speed. What David Strid did though just a few minutes ago was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
It was right on the limit of grip. You could see the rear slide basically. David wasn't really counter steering, but he was keeping his wheels straight so the car would turn by itself, if that makes sense. He was basically driving the oversteer into the banking there. So great job by David, and of course that pays off for him because he's up into 2nd, 5.5 seconds clear of Mike West, and another 5 seconds clear of Dan Enge. So great job by him as Jason Lowe back on pit lane.
Yep. And there we go, back out again.
I thought that was a long hold for just a second there, but my eyes were deceiving me as we cut in quite late to that stop. So the Florida Urgent Rescue 004 back underway as he gets very close to that white and red line on pit out as well.
As we see another one pitting currently.
And right in front of the leaders is where Jason Lowe emerges. And David Strid backs off. He was gonna save fuel.
Yeah, this is like, okay, perfect. I found my fuel saving buddy again. And he's not losing time to Balls, so that's win-win for David Strid.
Yeah, if you remember, Lowe and Strid were working together in the first two stints. I'll take that back, just the first stint, because the first round of stops is where Jason spun on pit entry. But those two were working together quite nicely earlier on. As Ryan Bowles now dives for pit lane with 48 laps to go. So in the window for this stop and then one more.
Yeah, it was a cautious entry in this one.
Visually, yes, totally agree. So that leaves 4 on the lead lap at the moment. Make that 3. And make it 2.
If a caution is right now, I mean still, because West and Strid still have to pit, so everyone will take the waiver on. But
so looking at the stint length here, 21 and 23 laps for Strid and West respectively. And Strid is running behind Lowe and West is running a good chunk behind. So he's on his own. So I will be curious to see, first of all, if West can make it beyond 25 laps. And secondly, if Strid can make it to the projected fuel window of 27 laps going into this round. Of course, This track is slightly larger than your typical 1.5 mile oval, so that might deceive the fuel numbers we usually use for the 1.5 mile tracks by a lap or two, which might well be the case because we've seen people pit 24, 25 laps into their run. And Mike West on pit lane.
Alright. So that leaves only straight in the lead lap. Everyone's a lap down. Straight dominance could bore fans. Or something like that.
I mean, he's running a Team Penske livery, so somebody should check his attenuator. They might be cutting drag levels so he can save fuel more efficiently.
I'm going to pass the call there. I'm seeing that number 48 in tech inspection. Actually, 48 is actually used to be a Penske number actually in the Nationwide series. And there he goes.
Of course, millennials like yourself know it as the Nationwide series. I think Gen Z and whatever gen this one is called, that's born in the last 5 years or so, they know it as the O'Reilly AutoParts series, or even the Xfinity series, the previous name.
Yeah. I knew it more as the Xfinity series. That's just because I say Nationwide because that's the era of.
Fair enough. You learn something every day. So David straight on pit lane, 40 laps to go. Now remember, he is the driver that saved the most fuel, and he made it 27 laps on this stint. So he will only need 13 laps of fuel on the final stop. That's basically half the tank. So they're already using half a full Dallara iRacing fuel cell, and another half of that. So basically a quarter, maybe a third maximum is what he's gonna take for the final stop.
Oh my god! Look how far ahead he is!
Yeah, exactly. He's 3 seconds clear, and it wouldn't surprise me if David on the last stop doesn't even take tires to just run away with this.
Yeah, because if you said like half a tank, which we already have half a tank, that's like only 25 liters. So, or around that.
Yeah, more or less, pretty much.
More or less, yeah. Maybe like more. No, I think like 18 liters. Yeah, I think 18, 17 liters. I think that's the that's what he'll have to put in. So that's not a lot.
You do have to keep in mind though, he's running by himself now, so that fuel burn is gonna spike up a little bit. So he might want to take just a little bit more, just to be on the safe side. Maybe take 25, 27 liters.
Yeah. Yeah, because if he's in clean air, then he'll do the normal 25 laps. So that means 15 laps.
So 37 laps to go here at Atlanta, for round 12 of the International IndyCar League. Of course, the next round is going to be next week at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 29th running of the Indianapolis 250. Coverage will begin at 2:30 Central European Time. Of course, the United States entered daylight savings today at 2 in the morning for them. That means for the next 3 weeks until Europe transitions to daylight savings, otherwise known as summertime as well. The time difference is now 5 hours from Central Europe to Eastern United States. So once that difference kind of reinstates itself, the race will be back to 3:30. But for now, 2:30 Central European Time is the Indianapolis 250. Of course, the day before that, on Saturday night, we got Richmond in the VOR IndyCar Series. You won't want to miss that one. It's going to be the first time since Season 6 we go there in the VOR IndyCar Series. Then March 21st and 28th, on my birthday as well, by the way, for good measure, St. Petersburg and Barber back-to-back. And then on the 4th of April, we go to Sebring or St. Petersburg, depending on which track wins the vote. And at the moment, I think I need to change that graphic over to St. Pete.
You need to, you need to change that graphic because it's clear we'll go to St. Pete. I'm actually surprised we haven't gone to Richmond since Season 6 in VOR. That's like a while ago.
Yeah,
At
it will
least
be
what-
the second ever running. And fun fact, the Richmond round in Season 6 is the only race in VOR that I've ever missed and didn't actually attend. Now there is one other race in Season 7, Texas, that I technically didn't start. I did finish it. But other than Richmond, I've been there for every single VOR race, which I mean kind of speaks for itself. It's my own series, but just want to put it out there.
You know the crazy part is like Balls has lost half a second to Strid now.
Yeah, Strid definitely pulling away a fair bit. Speaking of Balls and Strid, of course those drivers have made plenty of moves through the field, which brings me to a nice topic to talk about, a through the field segment here. David Strid started from the pole, currently running first, but of course we saw him drop back in the first stint to save fuel. He's been doing that on the second, third and fourth stint, and now the fifth one. He is really running away with it, so great job by David to pull out a 3.6 second lead over Ryan Bowles, who started fifth and is currently running second. Kept his nose clean for most of the way so far today. Had a slow pit entry on one of the stops, but very clean, very good execution there by him so far. Jason Lowe started third and is in that same position still, but not without any shenanigans, we'll just call it that, on the pit entry on the first round of stops. But nonetheless, he is 8 seconds back from the leader, 5 seconds behind Bowles, so still in podium contention. Mike West is up 4 positions, the biggest mover in the race at the moment, so great job by Mike to keep his nose clean as well. He's been following Jason for most of the race and it's paying off massively. Dan Inge lost 1 spot off the line, started 4th officially. Of course, started on the outside of the front row due to Roden Eveting's EOL as Mike West jumps in front of Jason Lowe, who pits. Brad Stanley,
That's an early pit.
very early pit indeed. He might not even be able to make that to the end with 28 to go. But Brad Stanley gains 1 spot and it will tick over to 2 because Jason Lowe is in the pits. Same for Rick Lovison, who is running 7th, started 6th, so he's lost a position at the moment. And Roden Eveting is the biggest loser so far today, although he is doing what he needs to do still. And that is just long laps, finish the race, get the points on the board. And as it stands, with Strid winning, he will keep himself in contention, but I think Roden only needs to start the race next week and he should be in a prime position to clinch the championship, as Roden now dives for pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jason Lowe will make it to the end of this race on fuel. Like that was a super early pit.
Yeah, let's see if we can find his pit entry. I just want to take a look at this one. Unless my ears are deceiving me, I think I heard you say something as he was entering the pits, or that was just about him. Oh, yeah, locking up. At least he didn't lock the rears this time.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing that was really shocked me was just like how early he pitted. Holy shoot! Like Strid he's gained a second since he exited the pits.
Yeah, Strid absolutely flying. He is definitely running that illegal attenuator on the rear of that Penske Penske car. Jokes aside, David Strid, of course, a very long time runner of this series. Been involved with the admin team for a long time as well, so he knows the league inside out. He knows the tracks as well. Of course, he's racing pretty much every single week in these cars in this particular series, so it's no surprise David knows what he's doing. As we have another taker for pit lane and another something needs to be figured out with ATVO and iRacing here. This is unbelievable. I'm just pressing following a different car and iRacing just nukes itself. It's so frustrating.
Tactical nuke incoming.
Oh, Mike West has not got a left front tire.
What the hell? Oh, that's drama there at the end.
Oh, David Strid is also showing on the timing tower as having crashed, but I think that's a false alarm.
Yeah. Car looks fine here. What the heck happened?
looks like Ryan Bowles might have been involved, at least according to the timing tower. And it's already happened there for Mike West in the background.
That's a 1998 Schumacher moment there.
So let's go on board here with Mike West. And the 999. Ah, it just charges it in too hard. Yeah. So this is a result of the rear brakes locking right as he transitions from the banking over to the pit lane on the apron. So let's see if we can grab a slow-mo angle from this.
That's a brutal.
Yeah, so he's on the seam. He starts braking roughly right about here. You can see the rear starting to lock already. You can see that little line there just to the side of the tub. That's the transition of what's actually banked and what isn't banked. So the left is basically on the flat part and the right is not. The hybrid is recharging. And he just locks the rear brakes and there's nothing you can do at that point. And he goes hard into the wall on the inside of turn 3. And surprisingly, we stay green.
Yeah, that would have been something if we got a caution.
So Mike West using his fast repair, he's back on his way again.
And I think Strid is entering the pit access road, Julian.
Yep. Strid taking it very easy on the pit lane this time around. He doesn't want any trouble. Oh, that was too fast entering.
Alright. What says the race directors?
Not seeing anything yet, but we'll find out if he's stationary in the box for too long. Ryan Bowles might be looking at the race lead here, if this is indeed a penalty for Strid. Car goes up the jacks.
Tires.
And he got so lucky. David Strid with the save of the day. Well, save. With the luck of the century, I guess you can call it. He needs to buy a lottery ticket right now. I could swear he was 5 miles per hour over the speed limit on entry.
And look at he even gained time on that pit phase. I mean, of course, because he was fast entering pit road, but good lord. What a way to scare yourself.
So now the question is, 16 laps to go. Does David use auto fuel? Does auto fuel put enough fuel in the car to finish the race?
I mean, if he took tires, and he probably had a bit of a margin. Let's talk for him. Because that would have been because that's a brutal way to lose a race then if you're out of fuel. But I guess what we need to watch is actually the fight for third place, Julian, between Jason Lowe and Ange, because in my opinion, Lowe doesn't make it to the end of the race, Julian.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely. I can bring up the graphic here, the stint length. Jason has pitted 3 laps earlier, and Dan Ange at this rate is going to struggle to make it. So I really don't see any scenario in which Jason Lowe can make it. Dan Ange is going to need to save that extra lap of fuel. Jason is going to lift off and go to the high side, so that's going to force Dan to go low.
Let's see. I think they're all trying to save fuel behind. Is that the 999?
I think that is Lovison.
Lovison?
No, it's not. It's Brad Stanley.
Oh. Brad Stanley. Okay.
Ange to the inside, so he's not gonna save fuel. Dan, you need to save fuel.
I don't think Dan and save fuel rhymes for today, Julian, because that's what he did in the first in 2, where he was just shooting up. And having like a 5/10 gap when everyone was packed up.
Looking out the back of Dan Ange's car. 11 laps to go. 10 this time by for race leader David Strid. And Jason Lowe is gonna struggle to make it to the end, and I doubt at this rate Dan Ange can make it to the end as well. So those two might need to make a splash for the finish. Caution-free race, by the way. As predicted, it has to be said, but still. Actually pulling it off is also a feat. So great job by all the drivers today. As mentioned in the beginning, only an 8-car field. But other than Strauss not being there, the most important championship contenders are definitely there today. Even though Rodin didn't quite make the most of his opportunity today, he could have clinched it with a top 3 finish.
And I think he parked the car, Julian. He said, "Yep, I'm not getting any lap back, and I'm not getting any position. Let's just park it. I'll get the points."
So David Stritt continuing to lead laps. 51 led today so far. And he is very fast approaching leading the most laps of the field today, if he doesn't already have it. A dominant drive by David. Of course, started out in the back of the field by saving fuel. And it was all part of the plan. And so far today, he hasn't made a single mistake. They're gonna penalize anyway. You did see him slide up the track with 2 wheels one time. But he got away with it. 6 laps to go.
That's 9 miles to do.
Back to the battle for 3rd place. Dan Inge leading the way in front of Brad Stanley, who is a lap down. And Jason Lowe running 4th place, 3rd car in line.
If this was VOR, I would expect someone to yell the lap car, "Get out of the way!"
Hey, easy there. Liam isn't in the race today.
I wasn't even talking to him specifically, but yeah.
Oh, everyone knows who you mean, Seb. It's not a secret.
It's not a secret. And I guess right now that lap car is kind of a help for Jason to try and save what he needs in fuel. Can he make it? I don't think he can make it, but we'll see.
Lap cars in this series are not obligated to move unless requested. So unless Jason requests Stanley to move, he doesn't need to. So Jason very much using Stanley tactically at the moment. And you can just hear Jason being off the throttle down the front straight to save fuel. Just blipping it a little bit, lifting off to about half throttle into the turns to save the fuel. Keeping the rest high, which is the most efficient way to save fuel around these big oval tracks to keep the momentum up. And he's gonna cross the line for 2 to go, so I think they're gonna be good to make it, just barely. Coming out of turn 4. David Stritt, excuse me, takes the white flag. Final lap. 1.54 miles to go at EchoPark Speedway.
What a dominant performance. As Lowe just passed Inge for 3rd place.
Great job by Jason, but David Stritt dominates today with a impressive fuel save early on in the race to short pit at the end, and he claims the win at Atlanta. Jason Lowe still running down the back straight now, down the front straight, sorry. Makes it to the line in 3rd place. Then Inge falls to 4th. Go ahead, Seb.
I'm impressed that Lowe made the fuel save.
So am I. We can look at this very quickly. Stint length, 27 laps. Very impressive.
He did what David Stritt did the whole race, actually.
Time for victory donuts. I wonder if the glaze is at the top or the bottom on Australian donuts. Great win by David. He did exactly what he needed to do with Rodin finishing down in 8th. Perfect drive in championship standings terms. Of course, these were the standings coming in. 28 points from Strauss to Avtink, and Stritt was 45 back. That gap will be cut down massively now.
I mean, David has to start from the back at Indy.
Yes, but it's Indy.
Do you,
It's a longer
Yeah, but
race
do
than
you-
usual.
yeah, but do you want to start at the back at Indy? That's the question.
I'd like to think so, yeah, actually. I wouldn't mind that. Save fuel, do the same thing as I did here. I think David
Yeah.
is going to have a very excellent shot at the championship here. Which I don't think he
Yeah.
would have expected earlier in the season when Strauss and Eefting were trading wins pretty much every single week. But it's time for your unofficial results here from Atlanta Super Speedway, as we will dub it. With the win, David Strid, impressive drive. Ryan Bowles second, Jason Lowe third. Dan Ensch completes the bow tie top 4. Then we got 3 Hondas and Mike West, who completes the top 5. Brad Stanley, Rick Lovison, and Roden Eefting, the final car to take the start in 8th place, and also the 5th final Chevy. So this was round 12 of 13. We'll take a quick peek in the Discord if there's anyone available for an interview. We'll give David just a second.
Right
But,
now, no one.
Go ahead,
No one
Seb.
wants to talk to us, Julian. They don't like us.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that feeling. Oh, I think David is gonna head off to bed. I think it's pretty late for him in the evening, so wouldn't surprise me if we don't hear from him today.
So what are your thoughts on this race, Julian?
It was a lot cleaner than I expected it to be. I thought people would be running side by side a little bit more, but I mean, I kind of explained myself early in the race that with only 8 cars, I think the race was always going to trend quite green. We've seen that quite often in this series as well. Like the field size might not be there, but the patience and everything is definitely there. So the drivers did a great job today. Want to go quickly back to this though. I don't think we will talk to David straight today, but Seb, I have a question for you. Indianapolis next week, it will be you and JJ on the call. What are your expectations there? Of course, this series likes running cooler temperatures. Maybe a pack race, maybe not. What do you think?
I mean, pack race at Indy is going to be a mess. I mean, I do have memories of like doing DW12 race, and it was pack racing, so it will be entertaining. It will be very entertaining to watch it, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope we'll have a bit more participation than we saw. Like since we started broadcasting, it was like the series struggled with like over 10 car counts. So I do hope like we get since it's Indy, I do hope we have at least 15 cars so that we have more cars. It's always better to have more cars.
Absolutely. If you would like to join in, make sure to send a message on Discord to David Strid to get in the field. David lowercase s lowercase 48 is his Discord username. If you contact him, you can get in the race. And of course, as mentioned, it will be the Indy 250, the 29th running, March 15th. Coverage will begin at 2:30 Central European Time, as the times haven't been updated on the graphics yet, but I can definitely tell you that it's 14:35 Central European Time. So join us next week for the 13th and final round of the 29th International IndyCar League's season. And JJ and Seb will be on the call for that with me pushing the buttons again, just like today, and not behind the mic, which is definitely a more comfortable place for me. So on behalf of Seb, all the drivers and admins of the International IndyCar League, thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys next week for the 29th Indy 250. Take care, everybody.